Hey everyone,
Hi everybody,
I'm Isabel.
and I'm Richard.
So we are live today to talk about Petalz and how to write a story.
Yeah, we've got 3 tips for you, so we're going to share it. We use these 3 tips with our participants, but we're going to share with you today on how to write a story. Yeah, you want to go first?
I think you should start first. You should start the first tips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, tip number 1. Before we start with the tips, what are the problems that usually our participants face? What we experience is most of them don't know how to start. I mean, they don't know how to start. They don't know what to write. They don't know what story to write about.
Yeah.
They just go blank. And our job is to actually ask them a few questions to get them going, to start the engine of story writing. And I don't blame them. It's because when they're at work, a lot of the time they have action items to do, they have tasks to do, things to deliver. But when you're doing writing, you need to go from action to expression.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of the times people, logic thinkers, face that kind of challenges to be very expressive about their stories, about their expression.
Yeah.
So that's the challenging part, right?
Yeah.
So step number 1, how we get them out of action to expression, is usually we start off with trying to understand what is the message they want to tell to the world or to someone they care about, and then we work from there. And the message, with the right questions, we'll be able to get the right message. So, for example, maybe they want to tell about a value that they care about. To be kind to people or to speak the truth. That's a message. Or if they're from the corporate, they probably want to share a bit about their corporate message or their product message. I mean, what's that message you want to tell the reader? Because at the end of the day, the reader is actually your customer, and your book or your story is your product, right? And for any product, what's the message you want to share, right, with them? Right. So that's tip number 1. Right. Number 2. Why don't you go with number 2?
All right. Tip number 2, how to write a story is basically look back at your life event. Yeah, because step number 1 is basically the message is your why. It's like the thing that you want to teach people is like the thing that you truly believe in. And step number 2 is more like how. It's like, how do you learn this message? And normally the message that matters so much to you, it comes from your real life experience.
Yeah.
And normally that experience is like so ingrained in your life, so impactful that it's something that it might not be big or very significant, but it has that very huge impact inside of you. For example, like the events such as like maybe you lost someone that you really love, you missed the opportunity to say something really important to someone in your life, or what else can you think of?
Like a deep event, is it? Something?
Yeah, basically it's life event. Like for example, a question that we usually ask our participants is like, what's your proudest moment in life? And the happiest in your life, the saddest. It's like when all these extreme emotions normally indicates the important events in life. Yeah. So yeah, that's tip number 2.
Okay, so number 3, going from emotions, is we also ask them, like what Isabel said, questions about what's your memorable experiences in life. Because when you write stories, a lot of the stories are based on experiences that you had in the past. It's very hard to come out with something that you, from thin air, right? You usually, when you write a story, you reference your history or your previous experiences. And it's actually a very good tool to help you enrich your story along the way. So questions like we ask is, what's your most memorable experiences? Who's that one person that touched your life, and who's that person really? Tell me more about that person. And as our participants go on talking about it, that's when they start to storytell. It's their natural instinct just kicks in, and we use that to help them carve out that story into maybe a plot line or into words and stuff like that. And usually that's what we do, and it works all the time. I think that's tip number 3.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, basically I want to add on a bit on tip number 3. Number 3 is basically your authentic power that is inside of you. Because like to write a story, you don't have to be anybody else but you yourself, how you feel. And being able to open is when you are able to engage people in your journey. Yeah, because I have tested that so many times, because I write on Mediums for years. It was when I talk about my life experience, when I'm able to say that I'm broken, that things didn't work out the way I want. It's all those emotions that I share that makes people connect to my work. Yeah, because I find that when you still talk about your strength, people normally can't relate. But when you talk about vulnerable moments, most people can relate, because life is not like Disneyland. It's not fairy tale. So everybody went through that. So it's important to be ourselves and be authentic about what we went through. And life doesn't have to be rosy. Just be real.
So coming back to the problem that Isabel just mentioned, it's also very important to kind of like end the story, to close off the story, to try to understand, like, you know, you're going through a problem in life, be authentic about it, but what's the solution after that? I mean, how did you come out of it? And that's what makes a story special, because when you bring your listeners down to that depth, right, you want to help your listeners come out of it again, right, or your reader to come out of it again. And participants are being taught that way to make a story more engaging, more worth reading. Because at the end of the day, I know a story is to enrich, right? And if it enriches someone or the reader will most likely want to share it with someone else, because it enriches them in the long run, right? So that's a little bit of story writing for you guys. The very high level way of how we actually start off teaching story writing.
All right.
That's right.
So that's about it. 3 tips. First is the message. Second is events, and the third is your authentic power.
Emotions.
So I think if you guys would like to write your own story, or would like to join a community who writes story, who share story, who tell stories, you can join our May programs, which is happening on the 19th of May. It's a Saturday in WORQ, WORQ.
It's a whole day event. We bring our participants all the way from carving out their story, from being blank to being emotional, expressive, and to help them carve it out. And then we'll help them with the illustrations to depict or illustrate their story. And we go on to deliver the book, narrate it, market it, and then publish it, right? So the whole process happens in one day. Right? So it's on the 19th of May.
Are we having another reading session?
The next reading session is 3rd of May. This is for our current participants. They are actually going to do a reading session, and it's open to public. It's going to be a WRQ, but that will happen in the evening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And welcome you all to come and join and meet us and enjoy the magical moment of storytelling and sharing and so forth. There'll be around 4 or 5 storytellers. No, actually more than that. I think around 6 storytellers sharing their stories. Please do join us. It's an open event. We like to connect through stories. That's what Isabel and I love to do every single day.
All right. So that's all for this time. Thank you guys for tuning in. So we'll see you guys again next week to talk more about storytelling. So until then, bye guys.
Bye.